The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. You signed up for the National Barbecue Championship. You better be. Registration free, so sign up today. Hit up smokingwithsmithfield.com for all of the details. All right, my guest in the second hour is running a fourth-generation ranch in Rusk, Texas. Texas, of course, known for the beef, and we continue to see a consuming public and the demand for Wagyu beef. However, getting the best typically means paying like it's the best, right? Yeah. But my guest tonight might be looking to change that mindset a bit, marketing their product as blue-collar Wagyu. Let's head to the hotline and welcome in first-timer to the show, the owner of Hassell Cattle Company at HassellCattleCompany.com. Doug Hassell joining me. Hey, Doug.
Hey, how are you?
Spectacular. Is your camera on there, sir?
There we go.
All right.
Let me flip it around.
No, you're good. It looks like we got full screen there. And wow, look at. Well, Doug, I hate to tell you, you have a luscious kitchen. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Is that a nice one of those electric range tops right there?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I wanted to make it really nice, and my wife has spent a lot of time in here.
Yeah, I love the cabinets. Is that a dual wall oven that you got behind you?
It is.
Yeah. Now, let's be honest. How many times do you use the dual wall oven? Because I have dual wall oven in my house, and I think I've used the second oven 7 times in the 5 years that we've lived here.
Well, we tend to have a lot of people here all the time, so we use it pretty regular.
All right. We are talking with Doug Hassell from Hassell Cattle Company. Again, the website, HassellCattleCompany.com while we're talking. Also, Hassell Cattle Company on Instagram if you want to give them a follow. So is the official tagline for the company Konnichiwa, y'all?
Yes, sir. We kind of took the Japanese word konnichiwa, which means hello, and we combined it with the Texas word y'all. And so we kind of mix the konnichiwa and the y'all together. It gives you the Japanese and the American together.
Very nice. So give us a little background about you, Doug. And I guess, as I had mentioned in the open, we're looking at a fourth-generation ranch in Rusk, Texas. So where's Rusk? And tell us a little bit about the history of Hassell Cattle.
All right. Rusk is located in East Texas. We are on Highway 69 between Lufkin and Tyler, halfway in between the two.
All right. What about the history of the Hassell Ranch?
All right, Hassell Ranch, my granddad has always had cattle on this ranch. And about 4 years ago, we started running the Wagyu in with our commercial operation. And our main goal was to stop taking animals to the sale barn and start going from the farm straight to the table. And it takes about 3 years from the time you breed a calf or a cow and you have a calf and get it big enough to butcher and send to market.
So you were doing, would it be commodity beef before you started getting into the Wagyu then, or something different?
No, we were just commodity beef is what we were doing.
So, is everything done, I guess, in Texas? Is that a good question to ask? Like, are you raising all the cattle there? Like, you on 750,000 acres out there in Texas? Because, Texas is a pretty big state for those people that didn't know, but, what are you looking at?
Right. It's a big state. We're a little shy of 750,000 acres. We have a couple thousand acres total, but we raise the cattle on our property. We get them up to about 600 pounds. We have our own little feed yard, and we get them up to about 600 pounds. And then from there, we actually go to Nebraska, and we finish feeding them out there. You can feed them out so much better in Nebraska. And then from there, they go over to Omaha, Nebraska, and harvested. And from there, they come back to Texas. Some of them do. We will cut them up into individual steaks. We ship them out all over the country. Some of them leave from Nebraska and they go to different distributors out in New York, New Orleans, Florida. We ship meat all over the United States.
So when you talk about being able to feed them out much better in Nebraska, I don't really understand the insight there, but so I mean, here's how I hear it: you're raising them in Texas to a certain age and size, or maybe just age, or maybe it's age and size, and then you put them in like a truck and ship them up to Nebraska.
Correct.
Okay.
And we finish them in Nebraska. In Nebraska, they grow a lot of the grains and different feeds that you need to finish feeding these animals out that makes them marble, and that's what gives us our high prime on our animals.
And is that something from a finishing standpoint that just isn't available in Texas, or would be costly to get the stuff from Nebraska and do it in Texas all in one swoop?
Well, we're in East Texas. East Texas is all piney woods and oak trees with small coastal fields in different places. So we don't grow any of the grains or corns or soybeans and corn that you really need to finish a cattle properly.
And is the company in Nebraska like a Hassell Cattle of Nebraska, or are you partnering with somebody?
Yeah, we work with a family-owned feed operation up there, and we go into an all-natural feed yard. They're never given any antibiotics, no hormones. All the feed is natural. And so we start out, in East Texas, we never give antibiotics or hormones. Now, if we end up getting a cow that gets sick, just like a person, and they either got to get them well or they end up, they'll end up dying, we'll give them antibiotic, but they leave the all-natural program and they're just put into the regular commercial program. You'll buy them at your favorite hamburger store somewhere.
Do you maintain a certain number of I mean, I guess let's just talk about the Wagyu stuff here, but do you maintain or try to maintain a certain number of head of these? We
do. Between what we've got and a few neighbors around here that we control, their operation, their cattle operation, what they'll do is they'll take the Angus cattle, just like we do. We put our Wagyu bulls that are registered with the Wagyu Association, and we put them with the Wagyu or the Angus cows. They breed, they have a baby, and they're a F1. And what the Wagyu does for you is it allows you to have a higher prime grade of meat. And so far, everybody that's tried it really likes it. I believe I sent you a little sample package up there a while back.
Yep.
Hopefully you liked it.
Oh yeah,
right.
I mean it was very good. So one of the things that we can get, or I guess they can get convoluted, is titling and labeling stuff. So when I go to a high-end steakhouse, for instance, I see one side has certified Angus beef, and then the middle portion has prime, and then on the right-hand side you have Wagyu, and there's like Mizuzaki stuff, and then there's stuff that seems to be more like what you would sell. I mean, is Wagyu just is prime, but just a higher grade of prime, and you can put the Wagyu moniker, or does it have to grade so much fat internally in order to go from prime to Wagyu? Or, I mean, how do people not get snookered here?
Right. There's a lot of people that call Wagyu Wagyu. Here's the way I understand it from the American Wagyu Association. If your animal is 50% or more Wagyu, then it can be labeled as Wagyu. And so that's why we take Angus cattle and we use the Wagyu, registered Wagyu bulls. And so we're raising a F1, which is 50% Wagyu. And then you have different grades of meat. You have select, choice, prime. Mm-hmm. And in Japan, they grade their prime, it's the A1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so you got higher grades of prime. Even in the U.S., there's not really, you got a body mass score. And our prime 4, we call it, is a 10 plus BMS. Our prime 3 is an 8-9 body mass score. And our prime 2 is a 7 or a 6-7 body mass score. And so the higher the body mass score, the more marbling and the better quality meat it is. So, and everything that we've harvested in the last 2 or 3 months, it's been a prime 3 or prime 4. So we're getting a real high prime grade meat.
Is there a definitive way to knock that number up to, 9 or 10 or 11 or no?
There is. It's just all about genetics.
Mm-hmm.
You can get better genetics. And then I always tell everybody genetics is 50% of it, and the way they're fed out is the other 50%. Those guys that we use in Nebraska, they do a wonderful job finishing our cattle up there. And so it's all about your genetics.
So how do you go about getting genetics? If I wanted to start a Wagyu business, who do I contact to get a really greatly genetic bull?
I would start with the American Wagyu Association, and then I would talk to farms around your area. And that's what I did. We have a farm up in Jacksonville, Texas that we dealt with, and they only raise 100% Wagyu, and their meat's grading high prime, and it's wonderful stuff. The problem with just a straight Wagyu, in my opinion, is it takes too long for them to grow. The Wagyu breed is a very slow growing animal. So that's why we crossed it with Angus. They grow faster, and we're getting the high prime that we were looking for. But I would start with the American Wagyu Association and find out who the members are around there and visit as many ranches as you can, go talk to them. And everybody has different opinions about stuff. But there's a lot of good guys out there to talk to that are raising Wagyu.
Doug Hassell joining me here on the show from the Hassell Cattle Company. HassellCattleCompany.com is the website. We kind of rolled around the answer here to the next question, but the Japanese Kobe beef and the American Wagyu is the biggest difference, and we kind of talked about it off air for a little bit, is the true Japanese stuff that you see, the fat all over the place. I mean, this is something that you're not going to eat as a consumer, a 16-ounce Mizuzaki steak, whereas since you're mixing it or you're crossing it with an Angus, it's got a more palatable it's more easily palatable at a 16-ounce cut or a 12-ounce cut versus something that is more traditionally Kobe, quote unquote.
Yeah, the Kobe beef that you hear everybody talk about comes from the Kobe region of Japan. And so to actually be called Kobe beef, it has to come from Kobe, Japan. And you hear people in the U.S. call their beef Kobe. That's really not correct. We're Wagyu. And the Wagyu is the same thing that the Kobe region uses, except it's just labeled Kobe because that's where it comes from. What you have when you have a full Wagyu, that meat is real. I mean, it's wonderful. It's real rich, and you probably don't want to eat more than 3 or 4 ounces of it, or you'll know about it.
Is that like you would never consider putting something like that in the product line because it would probably, or do you think you would get enough sales on it where people would say, hey, we got Christmas coming up or a special event here, we'll buy a chunk and, everybody will get a couple ounces here or there and it'll satisfy the curiosity?
Right. That's just not us. What we're doing is the F1 cross, and we do it very well. And that's kind of where our focus is. And like I say, if you want some pure Wagyu, there's a ranch in Jacksonville, Texas that they produce some of the best out there. Diamond T Ranch. I would check with those guys, but also the cost is quite a bit more when you go to a pure Wagyu because it just takes longer to grow that animal. Plus, you have a lot more money invested in your genetics, but having the bull, pure Wagyu registered and having the cow registered, I've seen these Wagyu cows go for $30,000-$40,000, and so you got to sell that meat for a lot of money. And I tell you, if I got a pure Wagyu, it's going to be hard for me to want to make him a steer and sell him off for even $60 a pound.
Right. Where
you probably sell him off for $15,000-$20,000 if it's the right genetics as a breeder bull.
Doug, let me ask you, I say maybe 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I don't even know if we would be having this conversation. And I don't think a lot of people were really on the come on Wagyu beef in general. But fast forward to 2019, especially over the last 3 or 4 years, it seems like this has really been a hot button in the market. and where you only saw maybe one or two names that had access or were purveying this high-end meat, you see more and more people starting to enter the market. So you said you're in it now maybe 4 years. Did you see a demand in the market, and you were in the cattle business and said, hey, let's get into this and try and capitalize? Or were you in it was it just happenstance that you said, hey, we want to do this, and you're also catching it at the right time?
Right. I guess a little bit of both of it. The main reason I really started studying the Wagyu breed is because I wanted to grow an animal that we could sell to the end user, and I wanted to have a very high prime quality product. And the Wagyu is a tool that lets me get to that point. Did I do it just because I wanted to have Wagyu? Not necessarily. I just wanted a great product that was a little bit different than what other people are selling, just straight Angus or whatever out in the market, that had a good, the Wagyu. Another thing, you'll get a buttery flavor with it. And it's also very tender. I've got videos of people cutting ribeyes with a fork. And so that's kind of why we went into the Wagyu deal, because it's so hard. As my son that's 26 years old, all he wants to do is raise cattle. And I told him, I said, look, you're going to go broke raising cattle. You're talking about making, $50 to $100 a head if everything goes right in a year's time. And nothing ever goes right on a farm. You either got a drought or you got a flood, or, there's always something going on. And so that's when we started really looking at how can we go to the end user, provide a good hormone-free, no antibiotic, quality product. And that's how we ended up doing the Wagyu.
You had kind of talked about the process of getting the Wagyu bull and the Angus cow together. Is it, has it always been let's call it a natural conception as far as that's concerned, or have you been a little bit more scientific in past years?
No, we haven't done any really AI work or artificial insemination. We've always just turned bulls in with our Angus cattle and go that route.
Is there any advantage to that, like an AI, or is it just more cost?
Well, a lot of people at AI will take a bull, instead of putting a bull with 20, 25 cows, they'll collect semen, and then they can breed, 100 cows with that same bull. And, the Wagyu bull is very, very fertile. I mean, you can put one bull with 40 Angus cows and he'll cover them without a problem. I mean, our pregnancy rate is about 90% on our cows. So we'll have 10% that won't get pregnant at a time, which is very high pregnancy rate.
All right, so the bull has a voracious appetite, if you will, so that's good to hear. Let's. Can I actually hold you over for a bit of another segment, and we can talk about the cuts that you got and some of the other products? Is that all right?
Absolutely. I've got some meat here. I'll show you, and we'll kind of go over our cuts.
All right. We'll do that here in just a minute. We're talking with Doug Hassell of the Hassell Cattle Company. By the way, the website is hassellcattlecompany.com if you want to check it out. Also follow him on Instagram, Hassell Cattle Company, all one word there. So I will talk to you quickly about the Barbecue Guru before we get back with Doug. They've always believed that outdoor cooking should be easy and fun, because it can be, especially with the Monolith Barbecue Guru Edition grill. You've heard me talk about it for months and months, right? This is a ceramic cooker. Ceramic cookers are very popular these days, but this is the world's first ceramic cooker that has a built-in power draft fan already in it. So if you have a automatic temperature control device from the Barbecue Guru, all you have to do is take that controller, hook it up to the fan, and away you go. You don't have to buy anything additional. Now, the good news is that the Monolith comes with a bunch of other really cool accessories. They're not going to nickel and dime you like some of the other ceramic cookers that are available on the market. Everything that you need to be a successful ceramic cooker right out of the box comes with the Monolith Guru Edition grill. Plus, you can get a whole bunch of really cool stuff over at the website, bbqguru.com. But again, check out this particular ceramic cooker if you have a Guru controller already. Now, if you want to upgrade that technology, certainly up to you. Visit the website, see what other controllers that they're offering, and if you have any questions, you can call them at 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU, and they'll make sure that you're up and running right out of the box. We are back with more Wagyu Cattle Talk with Doug Hassell of the Hassell Cattle Company right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. We are talking with Doug Hassell from the Hassell Cattle Company. Thanks for hanging with me through the break there, Doug.
Yes, sir.
And now let's talk about really cool stuff, which, of course, is cuts of beef, and you have some stuff you want to show us. But let me first ask you about I don't know if it's a catchphrase or whatnot, but it's a blue-collar Wagyu, right? So what do you mean by that?
Blue-collar Wagyu, we came up with that because our Wagyu, at the prices we're selling it at, your common man can afford to buy this meat. And so we came up with the blue-collar Wagyu. If you go onto our website, the HassellCattleCompany.com website, you'll see kind of what we're selling our meat for.
Is it a intentional thing for you to go and, or I guess if you know what the market is currently bringing for this kind of meat, it would seem a little out of, not out of line, of course, but it would seem to go against the grain of business to, price yourself less. So, I mean, obviously you want to make it available for everybody.
When I looked at pricing, I took the cattle and I looked at how much, pounds of ribeyes you got, New York strips, and it was quite a process to figure all this out. And we decided, look, we need X amount of dollars out of this cow to make a profit. But we didn't want to be so high that people couldn't afford us either. And at the prices we're selling at, we can make a living. People can enjoy some great Wagyu meat. And so we came up with the phrase blue-collar Wagyu.
All right, Doug, I'm going to ask you this because nobody thinks I'm going to ask you, but how much is in your bank account? I'm just kidding. It's a joke. It's an inside joke. It's an inside joke.
I'll have to ask my wife.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Of course. Spoken like a man, I would say the same exact thing. I just make the money. I have no idea how much we actually have in the bank. All right, so let's talk about the cuts of beef. What do we have? What's popular? And what do you like the best?
Well, I tell you, everybody asks, what's different about the cuts with the Wagyu? It's the exact same cuts that you have on any Angus cow or any other cow that you go to the grocery store and buy. We have our ribeyes, which are very, very popular. Matter of fact, I need to come up with a cow that's got double the amount of ribeyes on it because that's our number one seller. It seems like we're always trying to come up with more ribeyes. Our New York strip are wonderful, and actually the New York strip is the number one steak sold in the United States.
Oh, really?
That's a high selling cut. That's what I've read online, and that's what it's showing. The filet mignon, or also known as a tenderloin, that piece of meat, it just melts in your mouth. It's wonderful. We have some even less expensive cuts that we do, like the flat iron steak, the Denver steak. They're just little steaks that are marbled up. We have a restaurant in Palestine, Texas. It's actually a Italian pizza place, and they do a appetizer using our flat iron steak, and they sell a ton of it. Everybody loves that little flat iron steak. We do our hamburger meat. We do an 80-20. We do it in a 5-pound, a 1 pound, and then we do patties, and the patties are 8-ounce patties. And our hamburger meat actually won. Food Network had a big burger jam up in the Northeast, and we won first place at the burger jam.
Wow!
And so it's very popular. It just had, when you start talking about prime meat, it has a different flavor. My wife told me the other day, so you kind of run us. We can't go eat hamburger anywhere because it doesn't taste as good as what we do. We can't go eat a steak anywhere unless they're selling, Wagyu or our steak. It's our fajita meat. It's unreal. I cooked fajitas for a big wedding a while back. I cooked 30 pounds. Everybody kept coming up to me and said, "What kind of seasoning did you use?" And I said, "Well, it was just Walmart Fiesta fajita seasoning." Like, no, that ain't it. And finally I told him, I said, it was Wagyu. and it just has a different flavor. Everybody, it just improves the taste of all of it.
So is the fajita meat like what part of the or what cut is that?
We're doing the inside and the outside skirt, and then the flank steak is what we use for fajita meat. Another item that's really, really popular is our bacon. We do a beef bacon. Everybody keeps telling me you can't do bacon out of beef. And I tell them, well, I guess it only comes from pork and turkeys, I guess. But we actually do a beef bacon, and this is it. I don't know if it's close enough to where you can see it.
Wow!
But we take this bacon, we smoke it, we cure it just like you would pork bacon. And this stuff here, we go to a lot of these farmers markets, and people walk by and we sample product. And some people, you ask them if they want to try something, they kind of look at you funny, like, leave me alone. But we always ask them, you want to try a little beef bacon? And, they'll say, no, and then say, wait, what do you mean bacon? Beef bacon? Who's ever heard of beef bacon? They come over there and try it. At one point, I had over 500 pounds of this bacon in our walk-in. And I was saying, how in the world are we ever going to get rid of this? And about 2 weeks later, we had like none.
Wow.
Oh, Lord. We got to get to making bacon again. Another thing we make that's real popular is our smoked sausage. And this sausage is jalapeno cheese.
Ooh.
It has a wonderful flavor. This is very, very popular. We sell probably 5 packages of the jalapeno cheese to 1 package of the regular smoked sausage.
Oh, wow.
But we have regular smoked, and we also have just jalapeno smoked sausage. But the jalapeno cheese is by far the most popular. Another thing, if you look on Facebook on Hassell Cattle Company, we started making these hot dog franks. We had a big deal, me and my wife. I wanted to call them Wagyu wieners, and I got voted down. So now we call them Wagyu beef franks is what they're called. But they're 6 in a pound. The outside has a little crunch when you bite into it. They're natural casing.
Natural case, yeah, like those.
Yep. And I tell you what, these have been very, very popular. Everybody tries them. There's Sandy up in Oklahoma. She is always, I send her weenies to cook with, and she does an enchilada dog. There's all kinds. I had no idea you could make so many different hot dogs, but she's made just tons of them. And a lot of those recipes and links are over on our Hassell Cattle Company Facebook page. And then here we've got our ribeye.
Ooh,
you can see this is
that's a nice thick ribeye too.
Yeah, we cut them 1.25 inches. It's kind of hard to tell in the package, but you can see all the marbling in it. And this thing, when you cook this thing, this is 16 ounces. And when you cook it, you can actually cut it with a plastic fork. Our marketing people that we use is out of Chicago. They're a big marketing company, and I was lucky to talk them into helping little guys like us. But they needed some meat to kind of get their creative juices flowing. So I sent them some meat up there, and they sent me back video of them cutting it with a fork.
Oh, wow.
And, they're the ones that came up with your Konnichiwa, y'all. If you look, you'll see our little van wrap. It looks very nice. Everything they've done is very professional, very nice, and we're proud to have them on board with us. This is our hamburger patties. I don't know if you can see them, but there's 2 patties. They're 8 ounce. And what I like about these, when you cook them, they don't really shrink up.
I noticed that you sent me burgers, and I have a house full of 4 women, 3 daughters, and a wife, and everybody is big hamburger fans. So the test for me, look, perhaps you're going to hate my guts when I say this out loud, but that's okay. I'm a man. One of my favorite burgers is a Bubba burger. But the one thing I do notice about the Bubba burger as it cooks is it does have a tendency to lose a lot of that, weight as it cooks. But when I cooked your burger, it was pretty much true to form from start to finish.
Right. And I found with our burgers, I like to cook them on either in a cast iron skillet or on a flat iron grill.
Yep.
They seem to work better. I've cooked them over open flames, and it seems like it makes it smoke a lot because there's so much, I guess, just juice that comes out of them. But to really do these right, cast iron skillet or a flat iron works very, very good. And then we've got our 1 pound blocks. We make a lot of meatloaf out of it, meatballs. I tell you, one of my favorite things, well, the other night my wife had a sorority meeting. We cooked up 5 pounds of hamburger meat, and they had a Mexican dish that they were making. And I don't know. There wasn't many women there, but I didn't get any leftovers. So it was a little aggravating.
Yeah, speaking to the deliciousness of the meat. So are you selling, from a percentage standpoint, is it like a more to the end user, like somebody like me, or are you selling into, hooking up with distributors or going directly to restaurant? What's the percentage of difference?
Yeah, right now we're probably selling about half and half to end users and half to restaurants and a few distributors. As being hooked up with the World Food Championship that's coming up, I'm getting a lot of calls from all over the country. I've got people, I had a guy in my office the other day from Greece. I'm getting calls from Europe, the UK, Germany. And so I guess that's pretty far reaching. I think we will probably end up selling more to distributors. Will probably be our biggest deal, but we're selling a lot to individuals. We're getting a lot of radio exposure and a lot of Facebook exposure, and our every day it seems like we have more and more orders that come in. And speaking of which, if your listeners would like to order 2 New York strips, they can go to our website, order 2 New York strips, and enter the code JERKY, and we'll send them a free package of original jerky. And that's another very popular item is our jerky. And we do the original, and we also do a sweet and spicy, and it's been very popular. We also do a meat stick, kind of like a Slim Jim, except we do an original and we do a jalapeno cheese. We have several convenience stores selling these things, and it amazes me every time I go by. It seems like they're out, and so we're selling more and more of that product. And what I like about our meat stick is it doesn't leave a greasy film in your mouth. Some of the other brands, you eat it, and it leaves a pretty greasy film that you got to overcome throughout the day.
Let's quickly talk. We got a couple minutes left here, Doug, and I appreciate the time this evening. Let's talk about the American Royal that's coming up here this coming weekend, and then let's touch on the partnership with World Food Championships, because I know that is a big deal.
Okay. All right. The American Royal is this weekend. It's a big cook-off. I know we are providing all the ribeyes for their steak cook-off portion of that deal.
Wow. We're
very excited. I actually picked that meat up today, and well, howdy, I hope it all makes it up there. I don't know.
You might need an armored car going up to Kansas for sure.
I may have to. I'll have to run a decoy in front of me or something. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what I'm driving up there because
smart.
It's pretty nice looking meat that's in there. So I have no doubt that this will probably be one of their best steak cook-offs they've ever had using our meat.
And then from World Food Championships, how do you get hooked up with them? Because I know you're the steak partner there.
Yes, sir. We've got a brand ambassador, Kathy Pullin. I don't know if you know her. She's got different seasonings and stuff, and she cooks all over the place. And she introduced me to the World Food Championship guys, Mike McLeod, and we got to talking. And they're coming to Dallas this year, and Dallas is in my backyard. We're 2 hours from Dallas, and I sent him some product, and they liked it a lot. And so we worked a deal to be their official steak of the World Food. They've got all kinds of titles that they give us. We're the presenting sponsor of the WFC Steak Championship, official steak of the Ultimate Food Fight, official choice of food champions, and the official steak of the WFC. So, anyhow, it sounds like a lot. I like it.
So let's talk a little business here as we close out. So you're providing steaks for the American Royal. You're the steak partner for World Food Championships. Are you in a position where you're let's say donating these steaks to Steak Cook-Off? Or, are you getting some kind of relief back from entry fees that these people are taking part in, like the Steak Cook-Offs and stuff, or World Food Championships?
Right. Well, right now, the steaks that we're not getting paid for the steaks right now, other than we're getting a lot of promotional material, a lot of they're pushing us to their members. Mm-hmm. And in return, we're selling a lot of steak to the members. We get a lot of the WFC guys that buy product from us. So maybe one of these days.
Yeah, I have no idea what the outgoing amount would be for the weight that you're giving them, but you're obviously seeing a beneficial return on that investment.
Exactly. I would rather pay in meat than in cash. If I pay in meat, somebody's going to eat it and they're going to say, wow, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
if I pay in cash, I'd rather pay my bills in meat for marketing.
Like, would it be ideal someday where you're able to provide the meat, but you're also able to claim a couple bucks per steak back as well?
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Sure.
I like. You know what? I may make you my manager, my partner in this thing.
Well, you know what I say.
Let you negotiate some of this stuff.
Profit is not a dirty word where I come from, Doug. I'll tell you that.
That's right. It's not, and hopefully we'll see some profit here before too long.
No, well, at some point, otherwise we're going to be having a different conversation down the road. So,
exactly.
If you want, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We're doing fine. The company's doing good. We're selling a lot of meat, and we're meeting a lot of wonderful people. It's given me a lot of opportunities to talk to people like yourself, other radio people, and just meet a lot of wonderful cooks. I had no idea how passionate these cooks are about their deal. It's wonderful. I mean, I'd rather be here than going to a football game or baseball game. I'd rather go watch a competition. Now, I really like it now, and I didn't know this would be a perk, but I get invited to do some judging. I guess they can look at me and tell that I like to eat. And so I actually get to judge some of these competitions, which is wonderful.
We are talking with Doug Hassell from Hassell Cattle Company. HassellCattleCompany.com is the website. You can follow him on Instagram at the same handle. And there's going to be the steak cook-off coming up this weekend at the American Royal, and obviously partnered up with the World Food Championships. Order 2 strips, and you can get a free pack of jerky if you enter jerky at checkout. And again, the website is HassellCattleCompany.com. Doug, really appreciate all of the insights and the information and the candor here this evening. And we wish you nothing but continued success, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yes, sir. Call me anytime. And you get over this way, stop by. We'll let you, I don't know, ride a horse, catch a cow, whatever you want to do.
Maybe I'll ride one of those Wagyus. We'll see what happens.
The Wagyu breed, they're really a gentle breed. It's amazing. You can go out in the field and a lot of them will let you rub on them and different things. They're really gentle.
Well,
it's a little different than some of the breeds we've had where you go out there and it's a fight to get out.
No doubt. Rubbing on the Wagyus, I can only invite a bunch of terrible comments from my fans, unfortunately. But, Doug, I appreciate you throwing it out there. That's great. I love that.
I'm talking about scratching them behind the ears.
Yes, of course you are. That's right. I certainly, Doug, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You got it. There he is, Doug Hassell from the Hassell Cattle Company, rubbing up on. Always appreciate the time. Always. I appreciate the time tonight, Doug. Rubbing up on those cows there. Don't worry, Jimmy Q. You are not the father of that Wagyu. Okay, don't worry about it. You're not the father. Of course not. All right, we are a little late, so let's play catch up. I'll talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills before we come back and tie up the show. Some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. That's right now. A couple different lines. Classic line. I don't know if they call it the classic line, but I call it the classic line. Then you have the prime line, which is the recently released version of the Green Mountain Grill. It's got the peek-in windows, both on the main cooking chamber and in the pellet hopper. 2 internal meat probes instead of 1, running on the 12-volt power technology like the Davy Crockett does. And you have the Jim Bowie and the Daniel Boone. Both of those can also accommodate the pizza oven insert, which I used over this past weekend, and it's so fun. The Green Mountain Grill and the pizza oven insert, I mean, it really knocks it out of the park when it comes to cooker and versatility. I love it. I love doing chicken on it one night, then I love ripping the guts out, putting it in the pizza oven, doing like 8 or 9 pizzas. Go to Aleshi's over by the Giant Eagle. Couple minutes from my house, grabbing dough balls, the sauce, all the fixins. Everybody makes their own pizza. Love it. So much fun. If you have a Green Mountain Grill and you don't have a pizza up, how dare you currently exist? Rectify that situation immediately. Go to greenmountaingrills.com and check out everything that they have to offer. Then find a dealer near you and snap them up. greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. We're back to wrap the show right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs. injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best Triple X show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
All right, we're back. I have to... Oh, hold on. Let me do this. Let me talk to you about the Smoke Sheet. That's what this segment is sponsored by. Keeps you in the know on everything happening in the barbecue world, including top news, events, recipes, and more. Started by Ryan Cooper, the barbecue tourist on Instagram, and Sean Ludwig, New York City Barbecue on Instagram. Both of them traveling around the country to find the best barbecue and then report on it. You can sign up for the newsletter at bbqnewsletter.com, a great all-in-one source covering the live fire industry. And mentioning this show every other week, by the way. Thank you. So as we quickly review the interview with Doug Hassell, I didn't fix that, damn it. I'll fix that. No, I won't. I'll forget. As we quickly review the interview with Doug Hassell, I have to say, right out of the gate, he flipped that phone around, and from a audio fidelity and visual standpoint, as I was just bitching about could we possibly go back to an all-audio show, Doug pulls out a home run. He's got, obviously, an iOS device. He has the wireless ear pods in there. His fidelity was good. He had a great backdrop. It was well lit. I mean, if you're going to come on this show and pull off Skype video with no issues and great sound, do yourself a favor and email Doug Hassell and say, how the hell did you do that? Because 9 times out of 10, guests don't do that. A lot of my guests that show up on a regular basis can't show up like that. Doug, production value through the roof as a host. I appreciate that. And then very open with the business and how he's getting it done out there. Doing it the old-fashioned way, if you know what I mean. No artificial insemination. Although, it did sound, from one bull collection, you could do 100 cows. That's a lot. But he also happened to say that one bull could cover 40 cows. So, Doug's got a way with words, which I appreciate. And again, you can, it sounds like he'll be up there at the American Royal this coming weekend, and they're going to sponsor that SCA event. And he is a stake partner of the World Food Championships. So the return, I am a advocate and a protector of the business guy. So when I hear that, he's giving away the stakes, like, first of all, there's no way they would make him pay to give away his stakes, right? I mean, that would be completely ludicrous. I don't think anybody would ever do that. But my concern is the payback enough? He's the one taking the gamble. I mean, screw the guys at the SCA event. I mean, they're getting free steak. They're not risking anything by bringing in free steak. Plus, it's Wagyu beef on top of that. Same thing with World Food Championships. The only one taking the gamble is Doug here. He's giving away, which I would imagine is thousands and thousands of dollars worth of beef in hopes that there is a return on that. That's my only concern for a guy like Doug. Or
hello, everybody. This is Gary Van
Flip.
Nerd Chuck.
Gary, just chill out for a damn minute. I forgot to hit the top of the hour switch over. So that's my only concern. That's why I feel like I need to advocate sometimes for these companies, because I'm not saying that this is what the SCA or the World Food Championships is up to, but everybody's looking for something for nothing. And he happens to have a high-quality product. So, of course, I want as much as I can of that for nothing, right? So it wouldn't be terrible down the road where he would be able to command a few bucks. But he said the return on that investment is coming in, so that at least makes me feel good in my stomach. I can sleep tonight knowing that Doug is happy with that business arrangement. But, anybody that comes on the show when we're talking about, of course, I'm going to be concerned that I want to look out for these guys. I mean, he's coming on and telling me all about the business. I want to make sure these guys stay in business, right? I mean, he's very successful. He's got other businesses that are happening that maybe could supplement the beef business that started to go down the tank, but it sounds like everything is going like gangbusters right now. And it's blue-collar Wagyu. I'm going to go on the World Wide Webs tonight and order up New York strips and ribeye steaks. Because, as we learned in the top of the second hour, because I sell $18 million worth of trucks this year, I'm a rich motherfucker. That's right. Yeah, baby. Yeah, I'm rich. So, long way to go to say if you're interested in steak and you're interested in trying Wagyu if you haven't yet, why not try HassellCattleCompany.com and Instagram at HassellCattleCompany and see what's what. And price check them against some of the other places. You know the other Wagyu purveyors out there. You know what's up. Check them out. I should have asked them about the dry aging, right? Is that the next thing that we're going to get into, Doug? Doug, shoot me a private message where nobody can see. Are we going to get into dry aging at some point? That's very big. Pat LaFrida, meat purveyor, what was it? 75% of his sales are dry aging. Yes. Yes. All right, can we please make the break? Let's do this. All the way back in the first hour, Meathead was talking about potatoes. Meathead from AmazingRibs.com, by the way. Mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, fried potatoes, potato pancakes. We also talked about twice-baked potatoes and chunked potatoes, a lot of potatoes. A very brief rant on plant-based meat. And then the second hour, we talked with Doug Hassell, fourth-generation owner of Hassell Cattle Company. That is a Wagyu meat purveyor. Started in commodity and has graduated or also gotten into the Wagyu side of things. They have a deal going on right now. Order 2 strip steaks. And as you check out, in the promo code, put jerky. Listen, jerky, Jerky, and you get a free pack of their ever-popular jerky. Also, beef bacon. Who wants to try beef bacon? I do. I want to try beef bacon. Give it a try, price check it up, and see if your ROI is the same. Big show planned for you on the third Tuesday of the month. Stephen Reichlin is in. Robin Lindars is in, amongst others. Is George Mott in next week? The Hamburger King of the world? Let me go to my calendar here. I don't want to leave you hanging. Come on, Googles. Believe it or not, we've rescheduled Kevin Bloodsoe. K Bloody is going to be in. It's my nickname for him. I'll have to confirm with him. So big show planned for you. Plus, we will probably have the American Royal Open and or Invitational winner to close it out. So it's jam-packed already. We're not even there. Again, the code for the free jerky, if you're going to order it, and you have to order 2 strip steaks, is jerky, Jerky, at checkout, HassellCattleCompany.com. September 11th is tomorrow. Remember it. Tomorrow, remember it the next day. Remember it always, because I will never forget. September 11th, 2001. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
WLTV, the #1 wine show on the internet. And this is BBQ Central.